Anyways, we're going to now move on to what do you say, J and K? What we got, my brother?
All right, we've got a, very long message in here. This one comes from Instagram. It says, my fiance and I have been together for 6 years, and we are scheduled to be married March of 2025. Up until recently, we have never had a disagreement on finances. However, recently, in lieu of our upcoming nuptials, he suggested we open separate bank accounts. One for each of us, meaning his money is his, my money is mine, and one shared bank account for household expenses. This caught me off guard. Having lived together for the past 4 years, there has always been an ebb and flow to how we manage our expenses. Now he's suggesting that we keep our earnings separate and divide the bills accordingly. The arrangement sounds more like roommates than spouses. For the record, he does make more than I do, but that is not the reason I have an issue with it. It feels like he's treating me like a gold digger that can't be trusted. We've talked about it, but he appears to be dug in and will not change his mind. J and K, tell me why all of a sudden the switch, and what should I do? Man. Woo. Mr. 50-50, what you got to say about that, bro?
I don't see the problem.
You wouldn't.
I don't even understand the question. I don't even see the problem. I don't understand the question. I think it's fair. And what's the big switch? First of all, I don't know. What do you mean, what's the big switch? I think if you guys love each other and you're going to get married in March of 2025, first of all, finances shouldn't even be in her mind, right? It shouldn't even be in her mind. I know you're going to say, what the hell are you talking about? Finances should always be there. But when I love someone, and when they love me, and so they say, why are we even thinking about that? Let's think about making this happy union happen in March of 2025. The bills will get paid. And I think what she's saying and what he's saying, what he's recommending about him having his account, her having hers, and having the joint account, how could you be any more, who would have a problem with that? I think that's absolutely fantastic. I think it's great. I think when the bills come, right, they go into the joint account. I think both parties should be responsible for putting in a certain amount of money into that joint account each month for the bills, for the family, right? And they should have their separate accounts. That's completely fair. So all the bills that come within the relationship for the family, for the household, should be paid out of that joint account that both parties put in their half, right? Now, if the man wants to go out and buy himself, a new BMW, new Mercedes, whatever the heck he wants, new yacht, go into his account and buy that car. If the woman wants to go and buy a new, red bottom shoes, new fur coat, new whatever the hell she wants to buy, she needs to go into her account and buy that. I don't care. By the way, I don't care what the hell you do with the money in your account. I don't need to know it. I don't care about it. All I care about is once the bill comes at the first of the month, that you have the money in our joint account to pay your half of the bills, because I'm going to have mine. So don't worry about what I'm doing with the money in my account, because I ain't going to worry about the money that you're doing with in your account. But we do need to worry about the money and what we're purchasing with the money that's in our joint account. And more importantly, we both need to hold each other accountable to make sure that we both have the amount of money in the joint account that we both agreed upon having. So I don't see anything wrong with what he is suggesting. And what I do see a problem with is that she has a problem with it. That's the problem that I have.
Okay, there was a lot. You said a lot. So the fact that they were, according to the letter, that they were, I guess, living together for 4 years and had this situation where, as she mentioned, it was just kind of all in on the bills, kind of ebbs and flows of how the finances were being taken care of. What do you think sparked it? Why do you think that fiance decided to change?
So I don't understand
Whether you see something wrong with it or not. I'm asking, what do you think? What do you think sparked the idea in his head? Hey, we need to set this up.
Well, what's wrong with preparing? And as far as I know, so during the course of the relationship, before this marriage date that's coming up in March, were they paying the bills equally, or when you say ebb and flow, just kind of winging it, like whatever?
That's how she described it.
Right. So now we're stepping to a new phase of our relationship. Now we're going from living together for 4 years now on to marriage coming up in March of 2025. Okay, so that's fine. So now let's get things a little more. Now that we're going to be married and we're going to have new bills together, let's make this more of a formula here. Like, so there's no discrepancies, there's no arguments, whatever. And I don't like the comment she said, by the way, he makes more money.
I was gonna ask you about that.
That's irrelevant. I don't care. Okay, because if I'm making $50,000 a year and my wife is making $150,000 a year, I don't care. I am still paying half of the bills. It doesn't matter. That is not fair for my wife to have to take on more of the bills because she's making $100,000 more than me. Kudos to her. She's busting her ass and she's making it happen. Why should she have to pay more of the bills? Is that fair? Do you think that's fair?
Well, I think what determines that are the expenses, right? So the expenses, if in other words, if a couple has decided to live a certain lifestyle, the person that's making less may not be in position to pay half of that, but they would need to make that decision upon going into the circumstance. Right. So I don't know if you said half. I don't know if it's half as much as it's proportionate.
Or what's agreed upon.
Right. If it's proportionate to what your load is, then you need to take care of that.
Right.
So I don't agree with you about this half thing and all that other stuff.
Well, and I see what you're saying in terms of
it's proportionate to what you can contribute, but you know that going into it. Let me ask you this though, Jay. Now, because I was going to bring up the same thing where she mentioned, by the way, he does make more, right? Do you think she's being honest? Do you think that that's part of where what's concerning her? Because if it's a case of your money, my money, or if all of a sudden, if I only have my money, now she didn't point out how much she makes, but if she doesn't make a lot of money, and now all of a sudden that she's got less to spend because it's not this pool of money together, you think kind of on the low that's kind of concerning her, bothering her, that she has less access to cash? No?
She's a woman, okay?
Ooh.
So, not all, but especially in 2024, not all. I don't
think it needs to be. I think just a few that you're talking about is ready to kick your ass.
It's a new breed of women. No, I'm just saying there's a new breed of women out there. And I know I have a lot of girlfriends that do very well for themselves, and their husband, their men do not know how well they're doing. And they stash their money away and they play poor. They play broke, and they want to be a woman. A lot of women today, as we talk about this, like they're looking for providers. And a lot of women feel that men should pay all the bills, especially, to her point, if the man is making more, right? So that's what they want, right? Listen, I'm sure Beyonce has way more money than Jay.
No.
Right. Listen, no. I'm not saying who makes more. I said she has more.
No.
Oh, so you know that?
Well, it's all.
I mean, none of us know that.
It's all. If we go by what's being documented.
No. I'm not talking about who makes more.
I know what you're
saying. I'm saying
who said it's the third time you're saying you're acting like the microphones don't work in this motherfucker.
So my point is, well, I don't know. Does it work? No, my point is, because you ain't hearing me.
I heard hear you.
So what I'm saying is, Jay, as the man, in society, he's expected to pay all the bills. For two reasons for him. Number one, he's a billionaire, right? And he's a man, right? Now, Beyonce, she's filthy with it, right? Most likely, and I don't know, y'all, but most likely Jay is probably paying all the bills because he's Jay, he's a billionaire, and he's the man, right? Beyonce, again, I don't know, but most likely she's a woman, right? She gets to sit back. She gets to hold all that money right there in her account, in her solo account. She might put $5 in that joint account, maybe make it look good.
$5.
Let me do my part. You know what I'm saying? But to answer your question, I think women, generally speaking, want the man to do his part and be the man, be the provider, pay all the bills, and be a woman. So I think in her case, that is what she wants, and that's what she prefers, and she wants to be a woman. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm not sure where this is. It feels like when we hear it, something ain't right. So as much as she's trying to come across like it's not what it looks like, I want to say, sis, I think it is what it looks like. Just like what Jay says, you got some kind of issue with something. Because if this was about marriage and if this was just about marriage and paying the bills, then you wouldn't have sent a letter saying, hey, what's what? It wouldn't feel any kind of way with you. It would click. It would be like, yep, that makes sense. Because you're gaining a husband, you're gaining a relationship, right? Nothing's being taken away in terms of the roof over your head or anything of that nature. And this union is coming together. And if he, as a man in this relationship, says, hey, here's maybe a better way, a more sustainable way for us to pay our bills and to prepare, to plan and prepare for our future. That's what I took from it. So what we did as a dating couple in a relationship is one thing. Oh, we're talking marriage? Okay, then we need to step it up. We need to move differently on this. And I would hope that as a woman or as a partner in this relationship, that you would commend him for feeling that way and viewing it through that lens and saying, hey, I've got a good man who's thinking about our future and forecasting out in the best way to help us to be successful in our later years and so forth and so on. Makes sense to me. But I'm a guy, so maybe there's something to that as to why it skews in that direction. But I would file this under nothing to see here. That's me, man.
But do you see anything wrong with that? With a woman wanting a man to be that provider and protector and paying all the bills? Do you see anything wrong with a woman wanting and expecting that?
No, I don't see it wrong. Do I see it wrong for a woman to want that? No, I don't see it wrong for her to want that. Yeah, what? Like that sounds like a sweet deal. Like, why wouldn't you want that?
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
So why not?
But I guess, what about some of the women who will block a relationship if a man is not willing to be that provider who pays all the bills? You know, no, I need a man to pay all my bills and do this and do that and I'm a woman. I'm not doing that. Do you think that women who do think like that, do you think that that's wrong, or like, what do you feel about women who think that type of way?
Well, I would say no. I'm not going to say she's wrong. Okay. I mean, if that's what she's in pursuit of,
okay, that's what she wants. That's what you want.
Yeah, and she can go after that. I think the conversation we hear more about today and currently is in and around are you in line with what you're requesting, right? Mm-hmm. So when you scan the internet and see a number of these hot takes, it's where conversations take place about what your value is versus what you want out of a relationship, and do they match? Mm-hmm. And so ideally, based on that scenario that you mentioned, ideally that woman is going to need to check a whole lot of boxes in order to just show up at a relationship and have this man provide and do all of these things for her, and she doesn't have to do anything other than be present. Now, those relationships do exist, but I think what we've heard more often than not in today's terms, that she better be bad than a motherfucker to get that shit. Yes. You can't be, as they say around the way, a ruggler and just be thinking, somebody's going to be doing all of that, right?
Yes.
And listen, I'm not saying that it's wrong. Listen, if you can get that, you can get that. That's fine. But you need to understand where you are in the dating market. Some people can command that. Some will not be able to command that. You just need to hopefully know that the calculus is correct, that you are one of those people that can command that. Because when the math don't be mathing is when you think you are, and you ain't.
Exactly.
So
yes,
right.
No, I hear you. And the whole thing is, I just wish that marriage and relationships in general, whether you're married, you're just seeing someone, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, I just wish the whole money aspect would be completely taken out of the whole scenario in this day and age, because I think that's just where it is. And I think it's so important to some women these days that that man can take care of them completely financially. And if that's not the case for some of these men, a woman will completely just ixnay him out. He's done. I'm not even going to rock with him. And this man could be a great guy, loving, caring, a protector, and be that everything. But just because he can't do that, or he's not willing to do that, they're like, done. Now, again, that's her wishes, that's her demand. I just think it's very sad because love is not really the main thing anymore. And I guess it's never been that, but I'm just saying, it's just sad to me that that's the scenario. It just.
I didn't know you were such the romantic, but all right.
It's Jay Lover. There is no other. You didn't know that?
I'm so glad I didn't. I'm sorry I found out.
I got a whole rap and all that. I'll sing it one day. I will. No. I promise y'all, I'll give you the Jay Lover rap one day.
On the day, on that day, I hope I'm on hiatus.
I'm going to make sure you're here. Well, all right. It's been fun, man. Indeed. So listen, good luck to you. Okay. I hope you work it out. And it's just make it work. All right. Keep finances out of it. Keep love at the top of your mind, and respect. That's numero uno right there.
Indeed.
All right. It's been fun. We will be back next week. We had great time today. Some great topics, great stories. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, obviously, Instagram. Obviously, we're all over social media, and we have great topics and debates like this. So make sure you tune in next week. Until then, I'm your man, J. Rob. Got my brother K. Be well, be good. See you guys next week on the J and K Show.